I'm here with UFC heavyweight Blagoy Ivanov. He is fighting against Marcin Tybura at the Apex on the Derrick Lewis versus Sergey Spivak card. So I had to ask, you came up, you were Bulgarian, started fighting in Bulgaria. What was the MMA scene there like when you were first coming up, and how has it evolved over the years?
Uh, yeah, I just started my first fight was I was 17 years old, and at this time there was not too too famous, but I just love to fight, and this is why I start so young to fight, and you can make some money at this time, and this is the one of the reason I start to fight.
Yeah. So do you think you're kind of have served as like an influential figure to other young Bulgarian fighters to kind of get into MMA?
Right now, yeah, right now it's everything. Everyone the I believe the young generation they're watching the fights, and they have a few gyms over there, and they start doing some events too. So the young people start training MMA.
Yeah. So in terms of your career, fast forward to where we are right now, you're 3-2 in your last five. But if you look at those two losses, they were really close fights. So they really could have gone either way. If the judges decided, it just broke a different way, and the judges gave you that fight, you're looking at a 5-fight win streak. Does part of you kind of wonder, like, oh man, if they just broke my way just a little bit, where you'd be right now?
Yeah, so with the Derek Lewis fight was I think I won this fight, but it's he's the referee, and like give me some more motivation. And I remember at this time I just got some injury too. At this time, so right now I'm healthy, more prepared, and I believe I can stop this guy, Marcin.
Nice. Yep. So you look at your last fight, it was in Phoenix, packed crowd. I think it was one of the UFC's first times back in Phoenix since COVID. It was rowdy in there, super loud. Now we're fighting in the Apex in front of a very, much more quiet, sedated building. What is that transition kind of going to be like for you?
Yeah, I like to fight on the when is the crowd, but just I was waiting a few months for a fight, and they just give me 40 something days notice, and I say yes, let's fight. And it's not, it doesn't matter. It's this my job right now, and when you're professional, is no matter for you.
Yeah, so you took this fight on 40-ish days notice. Do you have to cut down to get to the 265-pound limit, or are you always on a
No, my weight was around at this time. My weight was around 260. So my weight is going down a little bit right now, and I feel in good shape right now.
So how does your training regimen change from when you have a fight booked versus when you're out of camp? Are you kind of always training, or do you have to get back into
No, I just start doing more. Yeah, we just start doing more sparrings, more conditioning, like 1 month, and I feel ready.
Yep. So when you come into the UFC, you came in a very hot prospect out of the PFL. You were the champ there. How did the competition level? What was that like going from the PFL competition over to the UFC competition?
Yeah, it's a little bit the transition. So the UFC, everybody is the high level, and like tough opponents, and like heavy transition, and so but the heavyweight you never know, one punch and it's you can lose. So you have to be ready 100% all the time.
Yeah, so you look at the heavyweight division, France Ngannou, we all know he just left. And there's a lot of people out there who think that the next destination for him in MMA could be the PFL. So he's kind of taking the opposite path of you, potentially going from the UFC over to the PFL. If that's a transition he does make, do you think that he's just going to run through all the guys in PFL, or is the competition there high enough where he'll be tested a little bit?
Yeah, but you know what? I believe he wants to box first. This is what I think. But yeah, in PFL, he's like it's. I think it's gonna be easy for him over
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he made the UFC look easy, so I wonder what he would do down there.
there.
Going back to
But
you,
I think he wanna box right now.
yeah, I agree. I think that's probably the next step for him as well. Tyson Fury just called him out, so that's probably what he'd end up doing. But
Yeah,
you,
he's
going back to yourself, an interesting story. Anyone who follows you know the story. Back in 2012, you were involved in a stabbing incident. What I find amazing about that is you were actually in a coma, and then like 18 months later, back fighting. That seems like remarkably fast recovery. What was the recovery process?
yeah. So it was tough. Like the recovery was tough because like 3 months, like at the hospital, was like over 100 pounds, I believe, and literally like just when you wake up, you just start learning again how to walk inside, and like you start being exhausted just to walk. It's was a tough process, and then I start do like a lot of like I remember after the hospital, I started doing like going a lot to the mountain, and I think this like helped me a lot. Like walking in the mountain, hiking, and this helped me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to do that in just 18 months is remarkable and arguably
That
unheard
was
of.
a tough moment.
Yeah, and it's crazy that it's not you just came back from one.
Yeah, this time I asked.
Go ahead.
Say again, please.
Well, it's not like you just came back for one fight, two fights, three fights. It's like you've been fighting for 10 plus years after that. It's
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a tough moment, but this time I was young, so and I think this helped me too to recover quick, and uh, and I feel like healthy right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you follow how close you follow American football, but the big story is Damar Hamlin was a player. I don't know if you heard about this. He was playing in a football game and he had cardiac arrest on the field. So he went
Yeah,
into I think
yeah. I watched this game. Yeah, I watched this game, and yeah, I saw this happened like some tackle, and but he's young. I believe he's going to recover 100%.
yeah. Yeah, it's a very similar story to such as your own. So what advice would you kind of have for a guy who's been through that for someone in his situation?
Just keep going and like be smart and never give up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for your time. One last question we got to ask. You are fighting Marcin Tybura. What is your prediction for this one?
My prediction is gonna be good fight. He's tough guy, and I believe he's gonna be a very good fight.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Best of luck. It was great talking to you and rooting for you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.